In April 2012, the Smart Grid Consumer Collaborative talked with residential utility customers in cities across the nation. These interviews explored consumer attitudes, values, and beliefs about energy and the smart grid. Through these conversations, SGCC discovered the top 10 things consumers want most from the smart grid. Consumers told us that they look forward to having access to detailed usage data that will help them control their household energy expense.
Because I'll be able to see how much electricity I'm using, and I can make any kind of changes anytime, and that would save me money.
Data is important, but information by itself isn't always useful to consumers. Instead, they want personalized guidance on how they can understand and maximize their energy use data.
The most important thing, it still doesn't really solve my problem on how I, as an individual, stop using as much electricity or gas. People need to know how to use their smart grid, or how do you have smart grid work for them.
An electrical power supply that can be counted on is consistently found to be of great importance to consumers.
Well, the reliability, I mean, I would know the meat in my freezer isn't going to rot, or the milk in my refrigerator isn't going to curdle. No, or I can, know that when I turn on the light's going to come on.
Consumers want grid improvements to be accompanied by greater choice and control over how and when they use their power.
I think, for the reasons stated, that it is the right thing to do, to be efficient. If it leads the customer choices, I think it will be very successful.
For many consumers, being comfortable within their home is a primary concern, and one that they hope that the smart grid will support.
So I just like my home to be warm and inviting and lit. Just the lighting, the ambiance of my home, feeling comfortable and cozy, and so I don't mind paying whatever little extra that would be.
Convenience and ease of communication with their utility count with consumers, who expect smart grid upgrades to enhance the advantages of modern living.
Change is always good, but I don't think anything like new technologies can create problems. If anything, it can help us out. And right now in our lives, we need convenience. And we don't need to be hassled with that.
Saving money matters, and some consumers are even willing to spend more in the short term to save money in the long term.
In the long run, I know that I'm going to be saving money this way. It's only, $3 to $4, but how much is that going to save me? I'm assuming it's going to save me a lot more than what I'm going to be paying for.
Many consumers also care about the environment and appreciate that the smart grid could contribute to preserving it for future generations.
I like the fact that you would have less power plants. I guess some power plants use nuclear energy, and that's a negative. And then it says a smart grid would reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, so that would be a good thing. Anything that's going to help the environment, I would be willing to pay $3 or $4 a month for that.
Many consumers see the current and future demands on the electrical grid as one of the most important reasons to upgrade it.
I would say it's favorable. I tell you, something like a smart grid is favorable.
Right.
Simply because, we're going to be inventing new and improved ways of using up electricity. The more things we invent, it's still going to all run on electricity.
Once the smart grid is explained to them, over 2/3 of consumers think that their utility should begin working to implement it. But they want its rollout to be careful and tested.
But we cannot just jump the gun and just let's hope that that round lands in the right place. Let's look for it later. Everything needs to be looked at, everything needs to be read, everything needs to be understood, before implementing something.
These are the top 10 things that consumers want most from the smart grid. Across the nation, SGCC found that consumers are optimistic about what the smart grid will do for them as individuals, as householders, and as citizens.
It's going to help the environment. If it's going to save me money, you're going to teach me how to save money. It's going to tell me how much I'm using at what times and when to pay my bill and to keep it all. I'm for it.
Consumers are clear on what they want from the smart grid, but not every smart grid benefit resonates the same way with every person. Getting the right message to the right customer at the right time is an ongoing challenge. The Smart Grid Consumer Collaborative has an actionable segmentation framework that can help. To learn more and download the Consumer Voices 2012 report, visit SGCC's website at smartgridcc.org.